Alzheimer's disease, a new condition actually. Until the 20th century, it was unknown. The first case was recorded in 1907 in the form of a case report. It was done. They're one off? Okay. All right, so we got to go back. Yeah, I know, but there we go. Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that. For some reason, this doesn't work as well, so I'll try to be mindful about that. But anyway, the first case was published as a case report by a psychiatrist. His name was Alzheimer, and that's where the condition got its name. The patient was a 50-year-old patient, really young when you think about it, who suffered from paranoid behavior and emotional outbursts and appeared to be incredibly confused. He had no understanding of time or place and had completely lost all short-term memory. So, memory problems had actually been described by the ancient Greeks, but what was particularly interesting about this particular patient was nobody had ever reported these kinds of problems in a relatively young person. On autopsy, Alzheimer made another interesting discovery, which was amyloid plaques. These are abnormal proteins that aggregate outside the brain cells, and tau tangles, which are twisted protein fibers that cut off the supply of nutrients to the cells. So there's no reference to the disease before in any textbooks or medical journals. So this begs the question, is Alzheimer's disease a new disease that is occurring because people are living longer? Is it something that's changed in our genetic profile? Or has it always been around and we're just getting better at diagnosing it? Those are all good questions to ask. So let's address the lifespan issue. If you look at the data, we're only living about 3 months to 3 years longer than we used to. So what we have is a statistical situation that makes it look like we're living longer. So here's what I mean by this. We have successfully reduced the rate, not enough, but significantly, of infant mortality in our country. So if fewer people are dying at the age of 2 hours or 3 days or 3 months, what happens is the average age at mortality automatically gets pushed upwards. So it's important to realize that we're really not living all that much longer than we used to. Now, let's look at incidence. Is it possible that this was missed? Lots of people had Alzheimer's disease and we just didn't know it. Well, US Census data for 1900 showed that there were 3.2 million people in the United States who were over the age of 60. So based on today's incidence rate, this means that there should have been 36,300 cases of Alzheimer's disease in the United States at the turn of the century, but not a single one was reported. Now, I can understand if it wasn't reported in a medical journal, but it has never been reported anywhere. And I would think that if the people were regularly walking out the front door and disappearing into the plains never to be seen again, this would have at least made a good newspaper story once in a while. Absolutely nothing. So I don't think it's that it's always been there and we weren't diagnosing it. We see the same phenomenon in other countries too, just no report of anything like this. Another clue that there's something else going on here is that Alzheimer's disease is concentrated geographically in westernized countries. So you see a lot of it here. You don't see so much of it in some Asian countries and in South America and Africa. So genes, we'll talk about genes specifically, aren't the cause. Diagnostic skill doesn't account for it. We're not living longer. So what is going on? Well, I can tell you one thing that's going on is that Americans are really worried about this. According to a report that was recently published, 34% of adults rated their memory saying that it is as good now as it was when they were younger. But 59% reported the opposite. Their memory was worse. 7% said much worse. 48% said, I'm likely to develop dementia. Think about that. If half the people in the country at a given point in time had dementia, 73% said they were trying at least one thing to reduce the risk, and only 5% discussed ways to reduce the risk with their doctor. Probably good because most doctors don't know what to do to reduce the risk.